Ciao.
True, different places on Earth have different times. Let me tell you a little story.
You're pretty obvious. You are the first guest ever for this show, and you're back again. Peter Cohen is here with us, everybody. Peter Cohen. Oh, man. I feel
like a
bad.
Bad penny, man. Like a bad penny. I keep coming back.
See, here's the thing. I feel bad because I gave Jeff Gamet the term the tech Ronin because he's, not writing for anybody right now. He's, looking at starting a podcast, but he hasn't yet. And so he's like Tech Ronin or Tech Ronin. And I feel like that should be you as well, but I can't call you both that because then one of you end up having to kill the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't really.
I'll let him be the Tech Ronin. That's a good name for Jeff. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll come up with something for you. Really quickly, happy First Contact Day.
Happy First Contact Day.
Yeah, it's 5th of April as people hear this, which of course is when Zefram Cochrane perfected the warp core and went out flying, and that got the attention of the Vulcans, and that was a headache.
And then the whole talking pig thing, that'll do.
That'll do.
Craziness.
Yeah. And then saying, hold up your insignia and show them your Starfleet. Man, we're going really hardcore James Cromwell now, I think.
Yes, indeed.
Right. So normally on Monday, we turn the topic over to the guest and say, it's news to Peter. We say it to, whoever it happens to be. It would be weird to say it's news to Peter when Mike Rose is on. Normally that's what we do, but Peter and I have something in common with a growing number of people across the country.
Perfect 5G reception, no matter where we go.
Don't do that. So I got my first COVID vaccine Friday, which was really surprising. And, well, I'll tell you the whole signing up thing and all that stuff. You got yours when?
Let's see. It'll be 2 weeks on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So you're a little bit further along than I am. I don't know why I want to talk about this. And in fact, when we talked about talking about this, you said, what are we bringing to the table? And so what I immediately went back to is, well, first of all, I'm kind of curious about the differences in the different ways it's being handled by people. But also, I just had no idea what to expect when I went. Like, there are little things that I now know everybody does, like the 15-minute wait. But I didn't know about that beforehand. And so I just kind of wanted to, all kinds of things. Like, I'm curious how you reacted to the first one. I'm curious which one you got. And, maybe broaden people's knowledge who haven't gone in for it yet. We're not going to be exhaustive, but I really went in just knowing, okay, well, at some point, one of these tables is going to give me a shot. And that was really all I had.
Yeah, it's been interesting because even trying to get the shot itself is a little bit like trying to get tickets for a sellout show through Ticketmaster. It's a little crazy. But let me say this for Ticketmaster: at least they save your name and address information. Which is better than I can say for the state forms. Anyway, the whole process has been really confusing, disorienting, and it's been very illustrative of just such distribution inequities in every stage, I think, of this process. It's crazy. You and I are on different sides of the country.
Yeah.
I'm in Massachusetts. Our governor has fallen under very heavy criticism for the way that this vaccine rollout has been handled. And initially, I think that his arguments about, we have we don't have the product, but we've got the infrastructure in place. That was a solid message. But once the government started to flood the channels with product, it was really clear that they didn't have the infrastructure in place and still don't have the infrastructure in place to really manage the rollout of this very effectively. I had to hunt like crazy once I reached an eligibility pool. And of course, the eligibility pools in every state are different, right? So each governor in each state has sort of come up with the rollout plans for which segment of the population is going to get it. You go to Maine, it's almost purely by age. Here it's by it's sort of a complex logarithmic projection of age and occupation and risk factors that determine whether or not you're eligible to get it.
It's the same kind of thing here as well. When I was looking at it, I was just completely confused because they were like, okay, so you're in group 1. Okay, but there's 1A and 1B. Well, call me crazy, but I would say, okay, you're in group 1 or you're in group 2. Because once you do the 1A, 1B thing, I don't even know. No, I wasn't.
What am I, like, am I boarding a Southwest jet? What's going on here? So just getting the spot was crazy. And thanks to a Twitter bot that actually looked for beds, injection availability in my state, I found one, but it was in a town that's about an hour away. And it was a pop-up clinic that was being held by a medical group that I just happen to have an account on the patient portal through because I go to one specialist in that group. And I was able to log onto their patient portal and in about 3 clicks register for my vaccination.
Okay. See, here in California, it's fine. I mean, I honestly, I can have no complaints about how they're doing it here. But part of that is also I was not champing at the bit for it. Like, I knew that I was not going to be eligible until the 1st of April. And so the very first time I looked to see how to sign up, where to sign up, whatever, was the 31st of March. And then on the 31st of March, it says, yeah, you're not eligible till the 1st of April. So I felt vindicated having not spent a week trying to do it. And then I tried to sign up through my phone on the 1st. And it said you can go on Wednesday the 7th. And I'm like, okay, fine. And so I'm signing up and I put all my information in. And there's no next button because I'm doing it on my phone, right? So I'm frustrated. I go upstairs. I get out my Mac. And by the time I get back through, suddenly a slot has opened up the very next day, which is how I ended up getting it on the 2nd instead of in April. Yeah, there was another time that I think earlier in the day in April, or on Thursday, I had tried to sign up. And it was like, yeah, we got something on the 16th of April. I mean, it's weird how fluid that whole thing is.
Yeah, and what made it really weird for me is, I just relayed the story of how I got my shot. I'm in a house with 4 other people, 4 adults, and none of those adults has an account through the same patient portal that I did. So I couldn't get them seats at the same vaccination clinic. We ended up waiting, and Friday it was announced that the following Monday, it was announced that there was going to be a sign up on Friday for 2 vaccination clinics that happened this past week. And again, it was just a matter of sitting there and waiting it out. It was exactly like trying to get concert tickets. I'm in the waiting lobby of this portal to try to get seats for each of the family members. Some of whom were working, one wasn't available, whatever. It had fallen on me to try to get it done.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here just madly refreshing, waiting for one of the time slots that's already been spoken for by somebody who was trying to get a reservation but had let it go for whatever reason. And I assume it's because, like me, a lot of people had multiple web browsers open or whatever. Everybody's just trying to game the system, trying to get a seat. And our experiences getting vaccinated are completely different. Everybody else went to a vaccine clinic that the county health department is doing at the local community college. And it's drive in, come get your injection, go back out to your car, wait 15 minutes, honk your horn if you go into anaphylaxis, and we'll try not to let you die.
That seems like a horrible idea, though. That seems like a horrible idea because if you go into anaphylaxis and you're by yourself,
they've also got people. They've got people wandering constantly and checking and interacting with people who are in their cars. So it's actually very well run. But you feel a little bit like thrown to the wolves when you don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah, which is why which is why I wanted to go ahead and talk about this really quickly because I didn't even know about the 15-minute thing. I thought they'll give you your shot, you'll go home, which is, it's great that they have you sitting there for the 15 minutes, but to arrive to arrive and have them say, now listen, go sit over there for 15 minutes. We're not going to say it's because we're afraid that you're going to, start throwing up, but the implication is we're afraid something's going to happen there. Not that it would have changed what I was going to do, but it was a bit of a surprise once I got there.
Right. the distribution is wildly uneven. The actual application of the immunization is a little bit different, and the follow up for for people who aren't getting the J&J, I went Pfizer. Mm-hmm. I went Pfizer. It's not like it's not like it's Baskin and Robbins. Which vaccine would you like, sir?
Right. Exactly.
Well, I'd like an oaky one with maybe a clean finish. It's the luck of the draw.
I saw a headline. I saw a headline in the Wall Street Journal, and that'll tell you everything, I guess. But I saw a headline in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend that said Johnson & Johnson vaccine choice for homeless. I'm like, yeah, okay. I understand. I get why that is the case, because they're homeless and they wouldn't necessarily be able to keep up with the day or the time, or are they even going to be in the same place? But the wording was kind of weird.
An elderly fellow that I work with went with the J&J, and I'm like, why'd you do that? Pfizer's available too and more effective. And he goes, 70-80% doesn't matter. I'm 79 years old. Well, it gives me a heads up. Or a little bit of a fighting chance. I don't give a damn.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's utterly practical.
That's awesome.
A little defense is better than nothing. All right, buddy.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's been very frustrating. I think for a lot of people who have been trying to get the vaccine early and have been really subject to a lot of the early problems with this. But I have to, on balance, when I'm not being a Karen about it, understand that nothing of this magnitude has really ever been done in modern times in terms of a mass inoculation of a developed nation like the U.S.
Right.
All at once, to do something.
A year ago, they were saying it could be 3 to 5 years before we had a vaccine. A year ago, they were saying that. And then on the day that I got my vaccination, so did 4 million other people in the U.S. I mean, it's mind-boggling what they've been able to do. I don't want to. And the other thing, too, that we keep talking about is everybody's experience is different, like state to state, locality to locality. I want to talk just about the physicality of it, if you don't mind. How were you the next day?
I was not in good shape. In fairness, though, I had been up for about 36 hours because of work and other responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I was already really short on sleep, but I basically went home and didn't really get out of bed for the next day and a half. I was achy. I was uncomfortable. I was super tired and slowed down.
Yeah.
And then I was fine. I had a little bit of swelling around the injection site, but it was no worse than flu vaccines that I've gotten.
Right. Yeah, I had, so Friday night I was fine, except I was a tiny bit worried. Like everything that seemed weird seemed 3 times as weird because I knew I had this thing. Right. Saturday, I don't know how I was on Saturday. My special lady friend tells me that I wasn't 100%. I do know that I got on the phone with a friend of mine, the one I was telling you about, who had a wildly different experience with her vaccine. And she had a horrible time both the first day and after her second, because she's a teacher, so she's already been through the whole thing, fully vaccinated, including the 14 days after. And she was amazed actually that we were able to have a coherent conversation, because she couldn't the day after she had hers, and yet we would get halfway through a conversation and I would run out of words. We'd be on a topic and I'd be like, it's like, thing. And that was it. And then we would both laugh and talk about TV and stuff that we knew we had a grasp on.
I have to tell you, I think the weirdest side effect that I've noticed since getting the injection is that I can now taste shapes and hear colors. And it's weird because it was the exact opposite before.
That's why you keep coming back.